In this video, we will be discussing poverty. The title of this presentation is Capturing Poverty in the U.S. In this video, we will cover 4 different topics. First, we will answer the question, how should we define poverty? Next, we will discuss how we should measure poverty, specifically in the U.S. After we determine what measure to use, we will ask AI for its input. Lastly, we will discuss what you, as the audience, should take away from this video. Well, what is poverty and how should we define it? When initially asked that question, words like hungry, homeless, and not having a lot of money are heard frequently. But these are very general phrases and terms. For the purpose of this video, we will define poverty as not having the capabilities and resources to experience a dignified life. This definition includes 3 key terms and phrases that we will discuss on the next few slides, and those are resources, dignified life, and capabilities. First, we will define capabilities. Capabilities are the real freedoms that people have to achieve their potential beings and doings, as stated in an article called The Capability Approach by Robbins, Ingrid, and Boskov. For example, if the man on the left, we will call him Bob, he may have the opportunity to get a job at Home Depot. However, if he does not have a car or means of transportation to get there, this is not a capability because it is not a substantial freedom. Real freedoms, also known as substantial freedoms, are described by Sen as a set of opportunities to choose from and act on. Bob does not have a real freedom as he does not truly have the opportunity to get this job. Next, we will discuss a dignified life. What does it mean to have a dignified life? Well, this question is very debated, but one way to look at it is the 10 central capabilities list, according to Nussbaum. She came up with a list of, she believes, 10 things which if you have, you will have a dignified human life. These include life, bodily health, bodily integrity, senses, imagination, and thought, emotions, practical reasoning, affiliation, other species, play, and control over one's environment. This list is often debated and some people don't agree with every part of it. So instead of using this list, we will use the HDI to help decide if humans live a dignified life. The HDI, or Human Development Index, was created to help measure human capabilities in regards to a country's development. From Nussbaum's list, it looks at bodily health, sense imagination, and thought. This approach to measuring capabilities is much more practical, and all the elements that are measured in the HDI are indisputable in determining human capabilities and living a dignified life. While someone may have all of these and still not have a dignified life, we believe that the HDI is a great place to start. Resources are obtained primarily through money gained by income or the government. Some resources include, but are not limited to, clean water, housing, food, transportation, education, and healthcare. Now that we have defined poverty in the different parts of it, we are going to discuss how we should measure poverty in the U.S. The OPM is one poverty measure. It looks at resources, specifically gross annual income before taxes. The threshold for the OPM is 3 times the cost of a minimal basket of food in the 1960s. It's 3 times the minimal cost of a basket of food because households used to spend 1/3 of their income on food. This threshold is adjusted by family sizing and inflation. The OPM has several drawbacks, though. One of the most significant drawbacks is that it does not consider diverse family households, such as families with foster kids. Another drawback is that it does not take into account debt. Robert Rector, a research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, criticizes the use of the OPM in the U.S. He says that it displays an inaccurate representation of poverty. We agree with this assessment. We think that the OPM is not the best poverty measure and does not accurately reflect poverty in the U.S. For this reason, and others mentioned previously, we believe another poverty measure should be used. After looking at all sorts of different poverty measures, we chose to go with the Supplemental Poverty Measure, or SPM. The SPM is a poverty measure that is currently only used in the United States. It uses a formula involving income to measure poverty. It sums up a household's total income and subtracts non discretionary expenses. This includes taxes and medical out of pocket expenses. It then adds non cash benefits. This includes but is not limited to SNAP, housing benefits Section 8, and Medicare. The threshold for this poverty measure is taking what households spends on food, clothes, shelter, utilities, and internet, also referred to as FCSU plus I, and finds out who spends the most and the least. They then find 83% of the median spending on FCSU plus I and multiply by 1.2. This is the threshold they set for poverty. After discussing the SPM, we decided to ask AI what can be improved about the SPM.
Specifically, the AI we utilized was ChatGPT. We wanted to see how ChatGPT suggested we could improve the SPM. While ChatGPT gave a variety of changes to the SPM, we are going to present the ones we found to be most important and impacted our opinions the most. These were education and skills, regularly update thresholds, and regional cost variations. The first suggestion that the AI made was education and skills. ChatGPT said, consider including indicators related to education and skills development, recognizing that access to quality education and training can be critical for economic mobility. While we agree that education and skills should be included in the measurement of poverty because it can affect the opportunities someone has, we do not believe the SPM is the way to do this, as the SPM is mainly measuring through monetary means. Instead, we thought that the HDI does a great job of measuring education and skills as it looks at expected years of schooling and mean years of schooling. Therefore, the HDI is able to measure poverty in more ways than the SPM as it refers to education and skills. ChatGPT also suggested that we should regularly update thresholds. Currently, the SPM updates thresholds yearly. We think that this is not able to represent poverty changes most accurately. ChatGPT said, adjust the SPM poverty thresholds more frequently to account for changes in cost of living and inflation. This would ensure that the thresholds accurately reflect the minimum income needed to meet basic needs. We agree with ChatGPT that the SPM should more regularly update thresholds. We thought that maybe monthly could be good, as it would be able to better measure the effectiveness of government programs and capture the negative effects like natural disasters or economic turmoil. Additionally, some people may suffer more in specific seasons of their life, and the SPM is not able to capture this by just looking at yearly. The final change that the AI made that we are looking at is regional cost variation. ChatGPT says, further refine regional adjustments to better account for the varying costs of living across different areas of the country, especially in high-cost metropolitan areas. Currently, the SPM differentiates geographic areas by metropolitan areas and state for non-metropolitan areas. We think that this could be ineffective in capturing each person's circumstances, as some areas of the metropolitan area might be more expensive, and similarly, some areas of a state that are not in a metropolitan area might be more expensive. Therefore, we believe the AI is right in suggesting further refinement of regional adjustments based on geographical differences. So, concluding everything we have said, we believe that the best way to measure poverty would be with a modified SPM. And this modified SPM would add things such as regional cost variation, better regional cost variation, and more regularly update thresholds. And we also believe the HDI should be included in measuring poverty, as it is able to capture things such as education and skills that the SPM cannot. So in conclusion, the SPM and HDI should be used in conjunction with one another to measure poverty.